Section 5.8. In section 5.8, page 292, 1 to 31 odd. So we still have division, but you can see it's long division. We're dividing by binomials in general. This is much harder than last time, where we were dividing only by monomials. There's only one term there. Okay, so 1 to 31, there's up to about 15. And lower. And answers in the back. Where are we? 5.8. Even like that, I think you can see all the problems there. Yeah, okay. So how do we do long division now for these problems? Well, remember how to do long division with numbers. Some of it's the same, some of it's obviously not the same, but we'll do what we can. Okay, number one, x squared minus 5x plus 6 divided by x minus 3. So you might recall for long division, the thing on top goes on the inside, the thing on the bottom goes on the outside. Okay. So here's the procedure. Take the first thing here and the first thing here, x squared. What do I multiply x to get x squared? X. Okay, notice I line it up in the x column. There are designated columns, ones, x's, x squares. That's sort of like ones, tens, hundreds that you had in long division of numbers, right? Okay, now take x times this whole thing. X times x is x squared. X times negative 3 is negative 3x. Okay, then I put parentheses and a minus because we subtract. That's what we did in long division, right? We subtracted. X squared minus x squared is nothing. Negative 5x minus a negative 3x is double negative. So it's like plus 3x minus 2x. Bring down to plus 6. We did that in long division of numbers, right? Just bring the next one down. Start over. Okay, so first thing here, first thing here. How do you go from x to negative 2x? You multiply by negative 2. Now take negative 2 times this whole thing. Negative 2x plus 6. Subtract. Well, anything minus itself is always 0, so there's no remainder. Okay, we will tackle remainders, like over here. How do you handle remainders? Okay, number 5, x squared minus 6x plus 9 divided by x minus 3. Top goes inside, bottom goes outside. Okay, first thing here, first thing here. How do you go from x to x squared? X. Now, x times this whole thing is x squared minus 3x. Parentheses, subtract. Cancels out. Negative 6x minus a minus 3x. That's like plus 3x. Negative 3x. Bring down to 9. Start over. First thing here, first thing here. How do you go from x to negative 3x? Negative 3. Negative 3 times this whole thing. Negative 3x plus 9. Anything minus itself is 0. So that's my answer. I won't check it, but just like long division, okay, if you have an answer, take that answer times this, you should get this. A way to double check is multiply x minus 3, you should get x squared minus 6x plus 9. Likewise over here, x minus 2 times x minus 3, you can FOIL that out, should be that. Okay, number 9, 2a squared minus 9a minus 5 divided by 2a plus 1. Okay, so first thing here, first thing here. How do you go from there to there? You multiply by a. A times this whole thing, 2a squared plus a, parentheses, subtract. This cancels out. Negative 9a minus a is negative 10a. Bring down to negative 5. Start over. How do you go from 2a to negative 10a? Multiply by negative 5. Gives me negative 10a minus 5. There's no remainder. So if there's no remainder, you don't have to write it. I mean, just like in long division, right? When you found there was no remainder, then you say, okay, I don't have to put anything. A minus 5. Okay, so far there hasn't been any remainder. What do you do if there is a remainder? Like 13. A squared plus 3a plus 2 divided by a plus 5. Okay, so first thing here, first thing here. How do you go from a to a squared multiplied by a? Then you go a times this whole thing, a squared plus 5a. Subtract. A squared minus a squared is nothing. 3a minus 5a is a negative 2a. Bring down to plus 2. Start over. How do you go from a to a negative 2a? Negative 2. Okay, now take negative 2 times this whole thing, negative 2a minus 10, subtract. Negative 2a minus a minus 2a, that cancels out to be 0. 2 minus a minus 10 is 12. 12 is my remainder, and here's how you write the remainder, plus remainder over the original divisor. And that's what you did in long division of numbers, right? You added the remainder over the original divisor. You have to put the plus, okay? In long division of numbers, you probably didn't put a plus, but if you say let's have 3 and 1/7, everybody knows that means 3 plus 1/7. But in algebra, if you don't put a plus, the understanding is that it means multiplication. So you have to put a plus symbol. Okay, so plus 12 remainder over the original divisor, a plus 5. Okay, what if the remainder is a negative? You can put it like this. So 19, a squared plus 3a plus 1 divided by a plus 2. So how do I go from a to a squared? Multiplied by a. A times this whole thing. A squared plus 2a. Subtract. Cancels out. 3a minus 2a is a. Bring down to 1. How do you go from a to a? Plus 1. 1 times a plus 2. A plus 2. Subtract. A minus a is nothing. 1 minus 2 is negative 1. So the remainder is negative 1. So I will let you put a plus here if you put the minus there. But it's easier to just put a minus 1 over a plus 2. 25, a little bit longer. 6a cubed minus 13a squared minus 4a plus 15 over 3a minus 5. Okay, so it's a little bit longer. So how do I go from 3a to 6a cubed? 2a squared. 2a squared times this whole thing is 6a cubed minus 10a squared. Subtract. That cancels out. Notice everything is lined up. Everything here is a cubed. Everything here is a squared. Everything here is a. Everything here is a number. Negative 13 minus a minus 10, that's plus 10. Negative 3a squared. Bring down to negative 4a. Do it again. How do you go from there to there? Negative a. Negative a times that whole thing. Negative 3a squared plus 5a. Subtract. Negative 3a squared plus double negative. 3a squared cancels out. Negative 4a minus 5a is negative 9a. Bring down to 15. Start again. How do you go from 3a to negative 9a multiplied by negative 3? Now negative 3 times this whole thing is negative 9a plus 15. They match. I know when I subtract, no remainder. Okay, finally, for 27, what do you do if something's missing? You have to count it as a 0. Notice it says x cubed plus 0x squared plus 4x plus 5. Okay. In the original problem, 27, it goes from x cubed to 4x. There's no x squared. When you work the problem out, you have to put 0x squared. Okay. For x cubed minus 1, you need x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 1, and so on. So if anything's missing, count it as a 0 coefficient. So x cubed plus 0x squared plus 4x plus 5. Otherwise, it's all the same thing. So how do I go from there to there? X squared. X squared times that whole thing. X cubed plus x squared. Subtract. Cancels out. 0 minus 1 is a negative x squared. See, I needed a space for the x squared because I knew it was going to show up. So it wasn't there in the beginning, but it shows up as the problem develops. Right? So everything here is x cubed. Everything here is x squared. Everything here is x. Everything here is a number. Okay, negative x squared. Bring down to 4x. Start again. First thing here, first thing here. How do you go from x to negative x squared? Negative x. Okay, then multiply negative x times this whole thing. Negative x squared minus x. Subtract. Negative x squared minus a minus plus x squared. Cancels out. 4x minus a minus x. That's 4x plus x, 5x. Bring down to 5. Start again. How do you go from x to 5x? Plus 5. 5 times x plus 1, 5x plus 5. No remainder. Done. 31, x cubed minus 8. Right, I have to go x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 8. Otherwise, everything else is the same. Okay, so if anything's missing, count it as a 0. Okay, so this is units or numbers, x's, x squared, x cubed. In arithmetic, we said ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and so on, right? Okay, how do I go from x to x cubed? X squared. x squared times this whole thing is x cubed minus 2x squared. Subtract. X cubed minus x cubed is nothing. 0 minus a minus 2 is positive 2x squared. Bring down to 0x. Start again. How do you go from x to 2x squared plus 2x? 2x times this whole thing is 2x squared minus 4x. Subtract. 2x squared minus 2x squared is nothing. 0 minus a minus 4, positive 4x. Bring down to negative 8. Start again. How do you go from x to 4x plus 4? 4 times this whole thing, 4x minus 8. No remainder. So that's my answer. All right, so this was section 5.8.